responsible for everything and everyone in your life, this book is for you. I know that the first time I came across the concepts of this book, it really opened my eyes to what I was experiencing myself as a high-functioning achiever in the world's biggest beauty company. I was doing great work, multi-million-dollar budgets for campaigns with superstars, and yet I was feeling no joy, no satisfaction, and no real success, and I couldn't quite understand what was happening until I read this book. And this is why I wanted to start with it as part of this channel where I deep dive in books that cover topics in performance, longevity, and fulfillment. The 3 topics that I covered in my own practice as a life architect here based in Paris, where I accompany private clients in aligning their work, their health, and how they actually feel. This book by Dr. Judith Joseph, with a foreword by Mel Robbins, which, by the way, has a great opening. And you know that if Mel Robbins thinks it's great, it's because it's really great. Where are my notes? She states that this book allowed her, and the work with Dr. Judith Joseph made her aware that she was addicted to busyness until she faced the impact that constant motion had in her life. And Dr. Judith was a core part of that change for her, Mel Robbins, in the foreword. And so you know that if Mel Robbins thinks it's good, it's because it's just that good. How do you recognize if you have high-functioning depression, or just simply if you're high-functioning but you're not feeling well because you are and have you put yourself in a situation where you're always the strong one, always the one that people depend on, always the one that is going to go that extra mile, but it's always coming at a cost, right? Dr. Judith Joseph is a psychiatrist and researcher, and she is the pioneer in working in HFD. She's actually the one that got it medically recognized, because for a very long time, it was not even medically recognized as a type of depression, which is very problematic, because then people that were feeling bad but would actually not go to the doctor, and even if they did go to the doctor, it would go unnoticed and untreated, because high-functioning people are just that, high-functioning. They do everything right and go the extra mile. Usually, when we go to the doctor, if everything's going well, then nothing gets treated. What's worse is that actually society rewards this, right? So doctors don't treat it, your boss rewards it, everybody around you is clapping because you're doing such fantastic work. And who's paying the consequences? You are, because you are still feeling like nothing is ever going to be enough. You're staying busy because without that busyness, maybe you're going to have to sit down with yourself and really experience and really understand that all of the achievements that you've done, everything that you are doing, maybe they're not giving you that joy, that satisfaction that you thought that they would. And this is actually one of the main concepts of the book, and it's called Anhedonia. And it's actually basically something that happens in your brain that you lose the ability to experience joy. So even those successes, even those wins that they used to bring you that rush, maybe even if they do for a little bit, they don't stay for long, and you don't experience real satisfaction, real fulfillment, not just in work, but in your personal and private life as well. Maybe your vacations don't feel as great. Maybe your dates don't feel as great. Maybe the things that used to bring you a lot of satisfaction are no longer filling you with joy. And this can be a very serious and a very problematic issue for many people. The risk of having high-functioning depression is that it can lead to low-functioning depression. And this is really where your life gets impacted and it's put on hold, right? Because you're really incapable of doing the things that you wanted and want to be doing. It can also lead to eventual burnout, and best case scenario, you wake up one day with an existential crisis thinking, well, what did I do all of this for? For whom and for what did I sacrifice my joy and myself for? Not to say that usually people that are working in high functioning states experience large amounts of stress. And stress is the accelerator for most biological aging. It impairs all of our bodily functions, And it actually doesn't let us enjoy the moment, right? When we are stressed, we are in a fight or flight motion, which means we're actually not even present in what's actually happening. When we're able to feel safe, when stress comes down, that's when we get to experience real joy, real pleasure in life. Another concept that Dr. Judith Joseph explores in the book is actually masochism. Why it's one of the reasons why people fall into these high functioning states is because they have perhaps a little bit of masochism ingrained in them. And I love the way that they framed it because I'd never heard it this way. And it's actually basically very extreme people pleasing. People pleasing to the point where you're going to self-sabotage or self-sacrifice yourself, right? So very different way of thinking of masochism, but still very relevant, because we've all known and perhaps are ourselves somebody that it will always take one for the team, will always go that extra mile for someone, for that project, and in that way lose ourselves, sacrifice our health, sacrifice our well-being, sacrifice what actually makes us happy. The book, I think, comes in such an important moment because a lot of high performers, a lot of high achievers are experiencing this, and you don't have to be in the corporate world to be a high-functioning individual and experience anhedonia and masochism in this way. You can be someone who's always there for your family and who's always just sacrificing everything for everybody else. You're high-functioning because you're doing all of the things, right? You are showing up at your work, you are showing up for your family, you're showing up for your partner, and so you have so many roles, and there is a constant fear of eventually failing at one of these many roles that you've created for yourself, because we never want to stop. So I'm very excited to share with you the content of this book. This is the very introduction. It's like basically the introduction and the first 2 chapters. So there's so much to cover. And what is very exciting is that many of the concepts covered by Dr. Judith Joseph, particularly her 5V model, are things that I work with myself, with clients through coaching. Now, it's a very different approach because, and as we're going to discover, she treats trauma, and trauma is one of the main causes of high-functioning depression, either childhood trauma or adult trauma. In coaching, we don't treat trauma, but we treat belief. And trauma can lead to belief. And we don't necessarily have to have a trauma to have a belief around this notion of wanting to be high-functioning, because we've equated it with achievement equals happiness, achievement equals worth, achievement equals love. Do you maybe have one of these beliefs ingrained in you? I know I totally did, and I'm working through it. It doesn't get fixed in the snap of a fingers. It's really a change of philosophy and a change of lifestyle that will bring us closer to dismantling core beliefs and creating new ones. But know that it's possible to create new beliefs. It is possible to have a new relationship with work, with achievement, with how you feel. And again, this is just the beginning. This channel, I hope, will bring you some clarity, some tools, and some weekly reminder to slow down and take care of yourself. I will see you next week. It has been a pleasure.